And it sounds nice, but when you really like think about what that means, I mean, you're telling me that like, oh, we have more diversity because now we have gay people. Like, what defines gay people other than a fixation on anal sex? So you're like arguing to me literally.
Okay, so I guess his argument is, holy
like they could read something written by von Clausewitz or something written by Sun Tzu, and they could actually amend that text and have a better idea of how to conquer enemies and defend borders than these people. And this kind of gets...
Wait, what's his argument? That we don't need any new people to think about military strategy because it was all solved like hundreds of years ago by Sun Tzu? He is very random, but he talks fast. Like if I wasn't able to pause everything, I understand now why Hunter's so desperate to go like point by point. Because man, if Doyle was allowed to speak uninterrupted for 5 minutes, you would legitimately be able to give like a 4-hour lecture on why everything Doyle said is wrong.
It's obviously a common goal.
I mean, you say multitudes. There's so many examples. Give me one from World War II.
Sure. So Alan Turing, he was a crypto analyst for the British government during World War II. He was also a gay man. His code-breaking skills played a pivotal role.
Oh, no! John Doyle is a YouTuber. Cringe as well. Hunter Avallone is also another YouTuber. Based, in contrast. And they had a debate. Surprise debate, apparently. I heard that John Doyle ambushed Hunter Avallone on this panel. Or on this debate thing. So, yeah. Without the way, let's just see how it goes. Let's go.
It's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink, and you are able to innovate faster. Why is it?
Groupthink is good.
But okay, no, it's not. So that literally weakens the military.
Let's go point by point. No, it doesn't. Let's go point by point then. I want to talk about the Europe.
I don't understand, because John Dole's, his entire thing is like, be a free thinker, rise above the NPC, I support the current thing mindset, behind the soy indoctrination of the current internet and the establishment. John Doyle in a debate like a few months later. Yeah, I think groupthink is a good thing. Like, he likes groupthink when it's good for him. He doesn't like it when it's bad for him. That's all. He has no principled stance. It just, he likes this thing when it's good for him. He hates it when it's bad for him. He doesn't actually think groupthink is bad. You know, that's all.
Versus Africa thing.
No, we're not going to talk. This has nothing to do with the actual military thing. I know that. No. I know you got to get back to your script. I understand that you have to get back to your script. Okay, but hold on. We're actually talking now.
I'm watching this actually thinks that your brain's operating at a higher level. I mean, I'm thinking.
I haven't been able to say a word, my dude. You've literally been just talking nonstop, and the non-biased mod isn't even helping at all. So this is exactly why.
Sorry,
by the way.
Hunter.
Damn. Here we go.
Okay. I don't know if we're going to get anywhere with that. I did want to bring in another guest, Olivia. You want to go ahead and put them both on?
Well, wait. Who are you ambushing me with? Because we're not even done with our discussion yet. Andrew.
No answer.
Hey, John. What's up?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are
Doyle.
Entertainment, here to discuss diversity, here to discuss the military.
Nice.
Hunter, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Why, we took so long.
So it is an ambush. Okay, so that's what it is. So Hunter didn't know. The guy didn't even want to answer the question. It is a Sam Cedar moment. Okay, so Hunter comes in, no preparation that Joel's gonna be. Doyle knows. Doyle has all the preparation. Doyle should crush this. We'll see what happens.
Long to get this set up. I'm happy to see you, John. How you doing, man?
It is true.
He's handling this in a good way so far, Hunter is. He's not having a Stephen Carter meltdown. We're good to go.
Doing pretty well. You know, I don't want to stand on ceremony with this sort of performative fraternity, Hunter. You know, you had some very abrasive things to say about me in your video, which admittedly I didn't watch. Admittedly, I also didn't rewatch my video in preparation for this because, of course, I wanted to give you the biggest advantage possible. So you're going to have to refresh me a little.
How did I give you the biggest advantage possible? You're ambushing him on a panel. You can't. Dude. You know, I wanted to give you the biggest advantage possible because your ideas are so dumb. I can dismantle them at any, you know, at the whisk of my fingers. You know, that's why I'm going to ambush you and give you no opportunity to prepare and know what you're getting into. Because I want to give you the best opportunity possible. You know, that's why I'm going to ambush you. Like, he wants both of them. He wants to get the ambush, the Sam Cedar moment, but he also wants to claim that he gave like Hunter every opportunity to succeed and do well in this debate. So this is just, I don't even know what to say. Also, once again, don't care about this usually, but like for somebody that talks about like the importance of like masculinity and standing up for your ideas and yada yada yada, doing this type of like, you know, I'm gonna ambush you, Lamau, haha, I'm not gonna give you the opportunity to prepare, Lamau, haha, it's like, yeah, for somebody that touts all these things, it's pretty fucking cringe, but yeah.
A little bit on your critiques as we go along here, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, the main critique that I had was just you seem to be very much against this idea of diversity in the military, and that's just not I thought that was quite delusional, to be honest, because virtually every single study we have, whether it's of a private business or of the military directly, we can see that diversity contributes to a significant amount of innovation.
This is true. Big true, because, and this is really interesting, we can get really fundamental with this. We can talk about theories of how a language actually changes the way that you perceive the world, the way you think. And because of that, if you have more people from different languages that are therefore going to have very different ways of thinking, you're going to be able to come at a problem from different avenues. You get more ideas, and therefore you can select from the best and move forward. This has been true for workplace settings, for classrooms, and presumably then for the military as well. Diversity is really efficient for coming up with new ideas and new ways of tackling problems. Whereas if you have very kind of homogenous groups tackling these things, there isn't going to be a wide range of variety in the way that people are going to approach these problems, right? It's going to be kind of similar way of thinking, similar, you know, history, similar past when it comes to solving these things previously, similar like modus operandi. You're not really going to get any new groundbreaking solutions. And that's why diversity is beneficial there, because it introduces new ways of thinking and therefore is more conducive towards innovation.
Right. So for those watching, people of hunters can like to do this thing with studies where they basically use them like Pokemon cards. So
starting up strong with the anti-intellectualism. Let's fucking go.
So Hunter is going to take his studies and he's going to say, look at this study. It says this thing, blam. And it's like his argument is the title of the study. You know, he doesn't believe that people, like as we saw with what Andrew was saying, can experience things, can infer data,
can infer data. Holy shit. He's actually doing the observable reality, bro. All these people are the same. All these people are the same. Oh, ha. You use these studies as Pokemon cards. You are cringe. That's why I use highly biased and non-controlled for and non-selected and non-analyzed and non-adjusted for individual anecdotes to prove my arguments. Because that's a way better part of making sure you get closer to the truth. Like, I don't even know what to... You guys all know the issues with using an anecdote as compared to a study. Just a quick example to get you to know about it. Let's say that you have a problem right now in society where everybody is getting Pringles cans, and for 99% of people, they're only halfway full, and it's a disaster, okay? And then you have one person. He gets the 1% of the Pringle can. He gets lucky that has the full Pringles. He goes, he opens it, he sees he has all the Pringles, and then he declares everybody who says that Pringles are only halfway full an idiot, because clearly he has a full bar of Pringles. So once again, just because an individual or a group of individuals may have a certain experience, that doesn't mean that they are correct, or that's the majority thing, or that's what's actually happening. That's why you need broad analyses of a lot of data and a lot of people that has been controlled for adequately in order to know the true picture of things. Because anecdotes can prove anything, right? So we're right off the gates, we're getting into the, oh, I don't care about data and statistics, I just care about my personal bedtime stories, right?
Can use their inductive reasoning, things like that. So that's why, you know, it's always
inductive okay. I'm sorry, but once again, I'm stopping because there's so many wrong things I've been saying. Inductive reasoning doesn't help you prove social phenomena. You can't inductively reason your way to highly complicated interactions of different groups in a specific context or in a specific society. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Because you can make inductively reasoned arguments for or against something. I'm going to give an example. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about diversity. Now, inductively, I can say that, okay, well, it's not even inductively reasoned really, but just like a logical argument or whatever. Well, you know, more homogenous groups are probably going to be more, they might be more comfortable with one another, you know, because they know each other more, so there's going to be more of a team spirit, so they're going to be more able to work with each other well, and you're going to get more innovation, right? It's an argument. I mean, it kind of makes sense if you just think about it logically, and then you can make the argument I made, that, okay, you have a group of people from different walks of life with different ways of thinking, and when they come together in a space, they approach the problem in different ways, and therefore think of more creative, innovative solutions. These are two, what Doyle would call intuitive arguments and paths of arriving at a conclusion. The issue is now, how do we determine which one's correct out of the two of us? Because both of our arguments are equally intuitively valid, whatever that means. What we need to do now is, now you need statistics, now you need studies to figure out who's right. Whose argument is more significant? Whose argument do we see actually plays out in the real world? So once again, you can make intuitive arguments for any trend ever in both directions. And that's why data and studies are so important to determine which ones actually do have a significant effect on the world and which ones do not, right?
Studies and data. So, you know, people like Hunter also, it's not a coincidence that they're so obsessed with things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like they conceptualize diversity.
No, we're talking about Marvel, dude. I swear to God.
Hold on.
Like, not you.
Is this actually your argument right now? Is the idea of shitting on data and factual information because you
your
think that
opponents
feelings
like Marvel.
outweigh facts? Is that it? I never said. Hold on.
No, if you would listen
John,
to my, I know this is one of your reaction streams where you're going to pause what I'm saying and
well,
have
this isn't one of your videos where you can just make up a bunch of lies about what I think.
Let's just go one at a time.
Finish my opening monologue here. My point was going to be the people of Hunter's coalition, maybe not him necessarily, since we want to get specific here. They can
yeah, okay. If you want to be specific and you want me to remove the arguments that don't apply to you, then I guess I can like. Yeah, I don't know.
Really conceptualize diversity like a team of superheroes, right? Or like the what was that Pixar movie, Inside Out, where you've got like this guy with this strength, and then this guy is really good at this thing, and they all come together, and then they beat the bad guy. That's not actually how it works. And you know what it comes
citation needed
down to basically in brass text is that anything the military is doing besides focusing on destroying enemies and their resources and securing our borders is by definition operating at a less efficient way than it should be. And so the whole idea behind diverse identity.
Wait, what the fuck did he just say? Hold on.
Anything the military is doing besides focusing on destroying enemies and their resources and securing our borders is by definition operating at a less efficient way than it should be.
What does that mean? Anything that the army is doing besides destroying enemies, protecting our borders, is operating at a less efficient means than they should be? I don't even know what this means. That's not efficiency. Right? Efficiency has to do with how well you're able to do something. If you're doing something you're not supposed to, it's not that you're kind of, if you really stretch the word, like inefficient, but efficiency typically regards that your capacity to produce a job, to do a job. So for example, if you're talking about destroying your enemies, you can be efficient or inefficient in doing so. But saying that anything that they do besides this is inefficient, that doesn't really make much sense. And besides that, I don't know if he's saying that these things are super simple and therefore you don't need to think and therefore we can do it all homogeneously because you don't need the advantages of like heterogeneity. Because even if he's saying that, all these things are complicated. Controlling a border is complicated. Destroying your enemies is complicated. You need innovation to make these things easier. So that doesn't really make sense. I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
And so the whole idea behind diverse identities, as Hunter articulated, is
I have no idea what he's saying.
You know, if you've got the white guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. If you have the black guy, he's going to have this way of looking at it. And when they all come together, you know, they can sort of figure out the best way possible because you have all these different perspectives. And it sounds nice, but when you really like think about what that means, I mean, you're telling me that like, oh, we have more diversity because now we have gay people. Like, what defines gay people other than a fixation on anal sex? So you're like arguing to me literally.
Okay, so I guess his argument is, holy shit, I thought this guy would be better at debating. Oh my god, he's actually throwing so hard. Okay, sorry. So now he's essentially saying that like, oh, the way he's going to approach his argument, I realize this now, his way of approaching the argument is going to be like, okay, well, people aren't actually that different from one another, because what is being gay except for wanting to have anal sex? Like, is that going to be his argument? Is that what he's going to say for all of these? Maybe based egalitarian John Doyle. People aren't actually that different. We're all the same. Poggers, amazing. So then why are you against diversity? We're all the same. If there's no differences in the way we might perceive the world. Like, what? Okay. That's dumb. I'm going to see if he's able to hold this consistently, because that's a really weird argument that bites him in the ass later. But also, obviously, that's not the case. There is an experience that you live in the world by virtue of being gay, right? You have a different experience in a wide range of different things. You're more likely to have been in specific situations than straight people. You're more likely to have experienced certain things. And therefore, you're more likely to have had your worldview affected by that, as everything does. Everything affects your worldview and the way that you look at the world to some extent. So by virtue of you having different experiences, which you're likely to have if you belong to like a group like being gay, you're likely to look at the world differently, right? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
So, and also there's
gay people other than a fixation on anal sex. So you're like arguing to me literally that
and also
that's what it is. It's a fixation on anal sex. Hunter, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
How long is your opening monologue?
It's a fixation of anal sex. Oh, you can be gay without having anal sex as well. God, he's actually so dumb. Oh my god. Okay. This is just gonna be a. I don't even know what this is
gonna be, dude. This isn't one of your videos.
I know. The big idea is scared the tiny mind.
I know.
The big idea is. Oh fuck! I'm gonna cringe so hard. Okay, let's keep going.
Your feelings, they're very scary. Please finish up so we can start talking.
It's not 2016. See, this is your problem, Hunter. You never quite left 2016.
And
but we
back
continue.
to you just telling me a story. Okay.
what we're trying to do here.
I know that you
literally
have a mod on your side, but like, are you ever going to let me respond? Hey, Andrew, you ever going to let me respond?
I know. See, this was the problem. I wanted to set up a debate between you guys. Hunter refused, and then he
I did not refuse. I said that I wanted a... Hold on, wait.
No, you said
I don't care if I got to go against both of you guys, but I will say I said that I wanted a non-biased moderator, and it's already...
and have I said... No, how have I said anything?
I said I wanted to be a non-biased moderator. Let me prove that I am actually a non-biased moderator by berating one side and one debater right now for declining the debate because they wanted a biased moderator. Truly, they were completely wrong about me being biased, hence me berating them right now about them not wanting to have me debate, or not wanting to have a debate with me as a moderator because I'm biased, supposedly, allegedly. Like, he's proving Hunter's point right now. Like,
I will say I said that I wanted a non-biased moderator, and it's already...
and have I said... No, how have I said anything? I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. No.
He's literally attacking Hunter. You have a... I don't understand. Does this person not think it's moderation bias if the moderator attacks one of the debaters? Yeah, the trademark of a non-biased moderator, attacking one of the debaters. That's an excellent trademark to being non-biased. Somebody should let modern day debate know that if they really want to really hit the peak of what it means to be a non-biased debater, moderator, then just start attacking one of the debaters at random. That's how you really prove it.
No.
If I could just comment on the structure of the debate, typically the way these actual debates, as opposed to, internet blood sports go, is, one side will speak for 5-10 minutes, the other side will speak for 5-10 minutes. There's questions, etc. That's kind of the impression under which I was operating. So I'd like to be able to speak for a few minutes uninterrupted.
I just wanted to interject with the fact that I haven't said anything, and he's saying there's a debate on a moderator on your side, and this is why he refused to come on. But I'm perfectly able to sit here, as I've shown, and not say anything, and let you guys talk.
Bro, he's saying things right now. What does he mean? What? This is so dumb. Okay, so what happened? This guy reached out to Hunter. He's like, hey, I'm gonna moderate a debate between you and Hunter, between you and Doyle. Hunter's like, no, I don't want to do it because you're gonna be a biased moderator. And this guy's like, haha, I'm going to sneak Doyle in anyway. Got him. And then 5 minutes in, this guy's gonna prove Hunter's point by going on a monologue and by attacking Hunter. If he wanted to prove that he was a non-biased moderator and that Hunter was wrong, he would have shut the fuck up and moderated. But that's not what he's doing. Because he's proving Hunter's point. Because he is a biased moderator. Like, this would have fit if he would have done this at the very end. If he would have been a good, non-biased moderator throughout the entirety of the debate, and then at the very end been like, hey, by the way, Hunter, you're a wuss. You didn't think I could be a balanced moderator. Look at this. I'm a balanced moderator. You just dodged the debate for another reason. He would have owned Hunter Avallone. He would have fucked him up. Unfortunately, he's doing this 5 minutes in. Therefore, proving Hunter's point.
So let's go back to both of them
right now.
Because you just made a claim that I'm...
Can I respond to anything that John said?
Oh my God.
You will have ample time. You just got to be patient.
Are we going to do a 5-minute thing? Because I'm not doing that.
That'd be great. Can you speak for 5 minutes extemporaneously? Are you afraid of that?
No, it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's that a real debate is you say something, then I ask a question, then we kind of build upon that and have more of a conversation, not just you get to rant in your camera for 5 minutes.
I didn't even go to college, Hunter. I know that collegiate level debate, there's the first affirmative, there's the first rebuttal. I mean, it goes in blocks. So I'm going to continue with what I was...
Stop. It's not the first affirmative and the first... Well, hold on. It depends on what you're doing. Typically, both of the sides are given an opening statement, and rebuttals are reserved to the second speaker of each of the two different debate teams. So I think he's even wrong on that as well. Typically, both sides want to present a case. So therefore, you don't go, like, one side makes an affirmative and the other side just rebuts immediately. You want to see both sides make their case. And then the second speaker from both sides, they do some rebuttal. Now, the second affirmative can do some rebuttal to the first speakers and their first opening statement because they went second. But the main purpose of your first speaker should always be to prop up your case first, not to attack the others. That's the job of the second speaker. So he's incorrect on that as well, as somebody who did do, like a nerd, like debate in a formal setting. But yeah. And once again, just because they do it in a formal setting doesn't mean it's the most appropriate ways to hold a debate in everything ever, which is the kind of point that Hunter's trying to make.
Trying to say here. Well, it is. I would like to think that we can operate at that level. I have a great amount of respect for you.
And you're correct, Inspector. If John wanted a real formal debate, he could have just had Hunter and MDD. He would have told MDD that, like, hey, I want to have like a 5-minute debate thing where everybody's given 5 minutes to speak. And then MDD could have reached out to Hunter and be like, hey, by the way, Doyle has challenged you to do a debate with these and these conditions. And then if Hunter would have declined that, Doyle would have had a good argument here. But yeah.
Your version of a debate, you're so scared to actually just talk back and forth. Are you afraid of my soy face?
You're not letting me talk. My brother in Christ. You gotta stop. I'm gonna just
My
continue.
brother in Christ.
Anyway,
you won't shut the fuck up.
The idea, you're so tough, dude. Like,
I never agreed to this. You're literally just ambushing me and then saying, oh, it's a formal debate now, so you have to be quiet for 5 minutes. Let's actually talk about it. Why do you think that diversity does not benefit the military?
True. Based Hunter. If Doyle's gonna do this cringe fucking ambushing things, he's stepped into the blood sports arena, okay? He has stepped into it. Hunter, go forth. You're clear for takeoff, okay? Make it as blood sportsy, as formal as you want to, because Doyle has done that first. You could ask Doyle, it's like, oh, is it part of formal debate that one side just randomly shows up and they're kidnapped and they're thrown into the room and are told to debate something with somebody that they weren't prepared to debate for? Is that formal debate, Doyle? No, it isn't. We're not having a formal debate right now. You came in here to try to ambush me, so we're just going to have the debate in informal capacity, right? That's good.
What's your evidence of this?
See, I was going to continue. Anyways, the idea that diversity does inherently benefit the military, like in that video in particular, I think I was mainly talking about diversity in terms of sex and in terms of sexuality. So like literally, if you're going to argue that diversity in terms of...
That's true as well. I mean, obviously the more diversity, the better, but even within different, and Doyle knows this as well, because Doyle is big on the biological essentialist. People are, men and women are so fucking entirely different species of people, you know, that type of shit. He leans very, very heavily on the division between men and women and on trying to uphold that division. So even within that, that's still a point in Hunter's favor, right? In that hey, men and women in society have vastly different experiences, vastly different worldview by virtue of those experiences, and therefore vastly different ways of analyzing problems and getting at them. And also sexuality is similar as well.
Of sexuality benefits the military. What you're saying is that people whose identities center around anal sex and genital mutilation have something to offer to the military. Like they could read something written by...
Wait, genital mutilation, what's that in reference to? They usually use that for trans people, but he said he was talking about sex and sexuality. So is he mixing up his own thing? Trans people. Yeah, but I don't think he was talking about trans people, right? Because he was talking about sex, and Doyle doesn't believe you can change your sex, okay? I mean, it's a verse. No, he said specifically, I want to talk about sex. So I don't know what he's talking about then, now at this point either. Because genital mutilation, I don't know what that's in reference in terms of sexual orientation, nor what that's in reference to in regards to sex, what he would talk about, which is just strictly male and female, and in his world, trans people aren't actually the sex that they identify as, and therefore, So that doesn't apply there either, given what he's talking about before, so... This doesn't make any sense given what he just said. I understand they usually say genital mutilation for trans people, but I don't think he would include trans people when he says, I'm talking about sex and I'm talking about sexuality. I don't know if he'd include that there. I think he'd probably talk about gender stuff, but who fucking knows? It's fucking John Doyle.
Von Clausewitz or something written by Sun Tzu, and they could actually amend that text and have a better idea of how to conquer enemies. And
wait, hold on, what are we talking about?
Anal sex and genital mutilation have something to offer to the military. Like they could read something written by Von Clausewitz or something written by Sun Tzu, and they could actually amend that text and have a better idea of how to conquer enemies and defend borders than these people. And this kind of gets...
Wait, what's his argument? That we don't need any new people to think about military strategy because it was all solved hundreds of years ago by Sun Tzu? Is that his argument? Is that what it is? We don't need to think more about war because Sun Tzu already solved war? Is that his argument? Oh my god, it's actually so stupid. Holy shit.
Gets into the other thing, well, even if not in terms of strategic innovation, in terms of technological innovation, you know, they have something to offer there, because he mentioned as well.
Yeah, okay. It seems he genuinely believes that, oh, military strategy is solved. There's no need for more military strategy. Sun Tzu solved it. No more. Done. He concluded it. It's over. We don't need any more innovation there. Jesus Christ.
The battlefield, only 10% of people are going to see combat, right? Now, in my opinion, that's more of an argument against the fact that the military has basically become a jobs program, less against the fact that, you know, it's not actually...
He doesn't know anything about the military either. The military is a lot more important than just having troops on the ground. It's intelligence, it's recon, it's preparation, it's logistics. It's so much more than just troops on the ground. I guess Doyle just doesn't know what the military is. I guess for Doyle, it should just be everybody, if you want to be the military, you are getting a gun and you're going to fight somewhere. What is that? Logistics? Planning? Order of operations? That's a math thing. Operations? Logistics? I already said logistics. Fuck, what was the other thing I was going to say? Intelligence? Recon? No, what the fuck? You don't have a gun in those. That's not real military stuff. I guess he just doesn't even know anything about deterrence. Yeah, negotiation. I guess Yeah, he just doesn't know anything about the military either. God, Jesus Christ. This is actually unbelievable.
Actually going to have a lot of people on the battlefield, but you've got the innovation at least, if not the combat aspect.
Pem does, yeah.
The thing with that, though, is if you say you're going to have 1 million people that can be in the military, just to use that number, if you're going to just stock it with people, for diversity's sake, you're going to want to stock it with the most people who are the most likely to innovate. Because obviously, you know, I'm less innovative than the woman that he mentioned who created that technology. But on average, I think that's what's important to look at. And if you look at virtually 95%, which is an actual figure, 95% of the innovation, both scientific and technological, that took place on this planet between, I think, 800 BC and 1950 AD was done by European men. I don't know.
God, he's actually so dumb. Guys, did you guys know that 95% of innovations took place by men in patriarchal societies where men are put in positions of power, dominance, and technological advance? Isn't that crazy? Doesn't that unequivocally prove that women can't innovate anything because men innovated the most from a very selected time period in patriarchal societies? Huh. Isn't that crazy, guys? Like, the reason for this, obviously, is because if you put one demographic group in positions and you encourage them socially and you give them the capacity to innovate through the social tools and you restrict the other social group from doing so, no shit the one social group you gave all the capacity to is going to innovate more than the other one. But that doesn't say anything about the inherent ability of either one of them to innovate. It just is a testament to how you socially conditioned one of them to. You gave one the social capabilities to do so, whereas you didn't do so for the other one. Like, you're right. He is very dumb, but he talks fast. Like, if I wasn't able to pause everything, I understand now why Hunter's so desperate to go like point by point. Because, man, if Doyle was allowed to speak uninterrupted for 5 minutes, you would legitimately be able to give like a 4-hour lecture on why everything Doyle said is wrong. Oh my god, holy shit.
Between, I think, 800 BC and 1950 AD was done by European men. I don't know why that is.
That's not the relevance. The fact of the matter is that... No, it is. Hold on, wait. Are you serious right now? You're actually just going to do... I'm going to hang up and leave, okay? If you don't let me actually talk and respond to some of this bullshit...
I'm almost done, I promise.
Why are you just talking? You think this is one of your videos right now? You've made like 50 claims. I'm not going to be able to respond to all of them. You're trying to gish gallop me, John. You're trying to gish gallop me. Yeah. You're so mad right now because you don't like the idea of having a conversation. You're used to just sitting down and saying, heck off, commie, LOL. You're breaking from your script. I know. You're really scared right now. So again,
you're the one who's afraid to talk for 5 minutes.
I'm not afraid to talk for 5 minutes. I'm actually interested in talking to you.
He's not interested in having a monologue, listening to you monologue for 5 minutes. That's what the issue is, Hunter. I mean, fuck. Doyle, fuck. God damn it, mix up the names.
Not just talking. That
let me just a couple more little bullet points out here.
How many?
Yes, more points. Fuck. Please, Hunter, save me from having to pause the video by speaking.
Points are you gonna get up till I get to actually respond to?
Well, this is how debates work, dude.
This is not how a debate works. This is not how a debate works, my dude. Why don't we actually talk?
That, like, oh, we have this one anecdote. We have this one anecdote of this woman who invented this particular piece of technology.
But she, in the beginning, was defending anecdotes as opposed to studies. And now he's gonna be like, oh, you just use anecdotes instead of like, bro, his argument is just like a mesh of interconnecting contradictions and like misnomers and factual inaccuracies. Like, oh my, holy shit, I actually cannot do this.
This minority who invented this particular piece of technology in a vacuum. If you were to keep pumping the military with, say, European men, which is traditionally the founding stock of our military, eventually they would have come up with that technology. That's just a fact. Eventually they would have.
So what's his argument now? Is his argument now that it's okay if our innovation is slower because I, like, a priori inherently value white European men more, so it doesn't matter if this innovation comes to us now or in 100 years, they will find it eventually, Lamau. Like, imagine if John Doyle worked at any company in real life instead of just being a fucking YouTuber. Imagine if he had any managerial position and he was, like, supervising a group of people. And a supervisor came to him and was like, hey, what the fuck? Your people are being slow as hell. And John Doe was like, well, it doesn't matter how fast we're going or how fast we're working. They're going to get the task done at the end of the day at some point. They're going to do that anyway. Like, what does it matter if we do it faster or not? They're going to figure it out anyway. Like, holy shit. This is actually ridiculous. Oh my god. This is... So his argument now is basically that, like, oh, it doesn't matter if we figure stuff up quicker or slower, as long as we figure it out at all, that's all that matters. Which is so ridiculous. Like, by this logic, why not just have like 10 people, or why not just have like one person do all the innovation for the military? Because ideally, I mean, eventually they're probably going to figure it out, right? Just a lot slower than if you have more people working on it. But it doesn't matter. Speed doesn't matter to Doyle. As long as that one person's a European man, then we're good. Then we're good. Like, Jesus Christ.
Because we can infer that from the fact that they've invented like virtually everything else. So
do
you think that has anything to
they've invented virtually everything else? I say as I cherry pick a specific time in history with a very patriarchal culture that didn't give equal opportunities for innovation to both like men and women. But yeah.
With the fact that oftentimes like white people were dominating the country. So like, for example, you could
now John was gonna be like, oh well, why were they dominating the country, Hunter?
Say like, hey, black people did.
We're good at innovating stuff.
Well, no, you could say like, hey, how come black?
Yeah, so that wasn't the perfect direction. Hunter needs to be like, oh well, it's because there were like inefficient resources. That rhetorical question there of like, oh, do you think it might have to do with the fact that white people were in positions of power? That doesn't really make sense. You need to say that this is like a thing that happened before, because if you do it like this, then Doyle's gonna say what it is, like, oh yeah, because they invented so much. Lol. But yeah.
Black people didn't really present any good inventions during the time that they were enslaved.
There we go. This is a good argument. This is what I should have at the beginning. It doesn't matter so much, that rhetorical question that kind of went whatever, because he got into it now. So
time that Jim Crow was in place. Like, I don't think it's fair for you to just say, well, look, Europeans did this, and that's just because they're European, LOL. That's not how this works. What it is that oftentimes Europeans held more power, and they were in a privileged position where they were able to innovate at faster rates. But it doesn't mean that that is intrinsic to the fact that they are, in fact, European. And again, I'm not. Then, okay,
yeah, this would be like saying like, oh, you know, if you look at the at like you know, early 1940s Germany, you know, Jews were actually responsible to close to 0% of all the innovations in Germany, and it was all just you know, ethnic Germans. I guess this means that Jews have no capacity for innovation. Am I right, guys? Like, it's so dumb. Like, you need to look at the context of the period of time you're analyzing, right? Like, there's something else going on, Doyle, that's influencing the capacity to innovate among these different populations.
You keep trying to call what I'm saying like an anecdote. That's an example of some things that's some of the things that women have contributed or gay people have contributed. Sure, but it's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink. And
hold on, what I didn't hear what to say before.
Act European, and again, I'm not.
Then, okay,
but you keep trying to. Mean that is intrinsic to the fact that they are in fact European. And again, I'm not. Then, okay, but you keep trying to call what I'm saying like an anecdote. That's an example of some things that's some of the things that women have contributed or gay people have contributed. Sure, but it's not just that. Again, it's that by having diversity, you avoid this idea of groupthink. You break away from groupthink, and you are able to innovate faster. Why is it?
Groupthink is good.
But okay, no, it's not. That literally weakens the military.
Let's go point by point. No,
for somebody who complains about the leftist echo chamber so much, he's just so.
Point by point, then. I want to talk about the Europe versus Africa thing.
No, we're not going to talk. This has nothing to do with the actual military thing. I know that. No. I know you got to get back to your script. I understand you have to get back to your script. Okay, but hold on. We're actually talking now.
I'm watching this actually thinks that your brain's operating at a higher level. I mean, I'm thinking.
I haven't been able to say a word, my dude.
I'm thinking faster than you, God. Okay, fine. You know what? Maybe Doyle is thinking faster than Hunter is, but what he's thinking is complete, absolute dog water. It has the integrity and the strength of a strain of spaghetti, okay? Just pull a little bit and it fucking snaps. Oh my god, it's so cringe. I'm thinking faster than you right now. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god.
You've literally been just talking nonstop. And the non-biased mod isn't even helping at all. So this is exactly why,
I'm sorry, Hunter. I thought when I spoke earlier, I was being too biased. Okay, John, let's give Hunter a few minutes to say what he wants to say. Okay. I didn't want to appear too biased because, you know.
So let it be known that
he's so mad. The moderator is so fucking mad. Oh my God.
I said that I was more than happy to debate John Doyle, and
you did not. No,
shut up, Andrew. So I said that I was more than happy.
My show.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and
mute. Yeah, I'm gonna give Hunter some time to talk. Hunter says something that the unbiased moderator doesn't like. Unbiased moderator. Shut the fuck up, Hunter. This is my show, okay? Jesus Christ.
So I said that I was more than happy to debate John Doyle, for example, on Modern Day Debate. And, well, no, I said Modern Day Debate. And on Modern Day Debate...
Oh, he muted them. Okay, so they're still speaking.
Reached out multiple times. John Doyle never responded. And I directly said, I'm not so sure I want to debate on your platform, Andrew, because I feel like you're going to
never debate John on my show. And
I said because you were going to be biased.
So he even did offer to set it up on a different platform. Oh my God. Hunter's at everything right here. Doyle and the other guy, they're actually standing on nothing. They're actually standing on absolutely nothing. They have zero grounds to do this. Holy shit.
And you've now let John go on, because you've let John ramble on for the last 10 minutes and haven't let me get a single word in.
And as soon as you complained, I said, you can have the floor now, and John just agreed.
Until Hunter said something that really annoyed you as an unbiased moderator.
So instead of complaining further, just say what you want to say.
Okay. So again, my claim is not that we need to impose diversity on the military. My claim is that by letting more people into the military of all different diverse backgrounds, you are benefiting innovation. And John, I know that you say like, that's not true, blah, 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 wah, wah. But you need to tell me then, how come we have found not one, not two, but multiple different studies that have all shown that when there is more diversity, the companies innovate at faster rates? Can you please answer why that is the case?
Pokemon cards.
Yeah, I do want to address the one study that you cited in particular, the murder mystery study, which you said was proof that diversity is good. On the surface, it's like murder mystery being equivalent to warfare. Okay, but you have to look at the.
Oh, he's actually so dumb. He's actually so dumb. Okay, look. A murder mystery isn't the same as warfare. I know, crazy take. However, the purpose of that is that you use similar problem-solving skills. That's what that's testing for. The murder mystery is a way to test for problem-solving skills. That's what the purpose of that is. And if a more diverse team is able to perform better and have better problem-solving skills, that's the important part there. It's not that, oh, they're better at solving murder mysteries, so therefore they're better at war. No, it's they have better problem-solving skills, and that's been demonstrated through an activity that needed problem-solving skills, such as murder mystery. So therefore, we would expect those problem-solving skills, which is the key thing that is driving the better performance in murder mysteries, to also affect other situations in which you need problem-solving skills, such as perhaps the military or any other workplace environment or educational environment. I can't believe I need to explain this to him, but
difference between the two. I mean, you have something like a murder mystery, right? That's like a social deduction scenario. You have a finite pool from which to draw, and then maybe you can find who did it, so to speak,
and
versus like literal open modern warfare. Right. So what I'm familiar with in terms of the literature,
it's not all modern warfare.
I know you have low impulse.
Not just Call of Duty. No, oh, fuck. He's saying something even more cringe now. Okay, sorry, guys. I cut off the cringe halfway through. Now we have to get double dosed.
Right. So what I'm familiar with in terms of the literature,
it's not all modern warfare.
I know you have low impulse control, but you just have to stop, okay? You want to go back and forth, and we have to go back and forth. So in terms of the literature that I think alludes to some of this, like corporate diversity being good, military diversity being good, oftentimes what they find is exactly that perspective thing that you're talking about, where if you have a more diverse group of people, then they're better able to assess situations critically. Right. That's the problem. Because all of the literature that's supporting that claim, you have to be careful with what that is implicating, because they're not saying that they're actually better at producing the correct outcomes for situations. Literally what they are saying is they are better at critical thinking. Why is that? That is.
We're gonna get there. Oh, okay. Hot take. The far right guy thinks critical thinking is bad. If you're surprised, send me your name on a postcard. Like,
because when you have more people from different backgrounds, they are more likely to disagree on things, which they define positively as critical thinking. I would disagree with that because
wait, no, critical thinking doesn't mean you disagree on something. He doesn't know what critical thinking means either. Okay, so you can have a group of people, okay, and you're approaching a task. You have a problem. You have something you need to solve. Okay, now all of those people are thinking about the task. They're like, okay, how do we solve this task? They pick apart the different elements. They understand all the moving parts. They understand the things that can be modified and what can't. They understand the core target, the outcome that is desired, and they understand generally maybe some inclinations about how they want to do about them. Now, every single person in the team can do that thing. That's what critical thinking is. Thinking critically about the problem. Being like, okay, hold on. Let's really dissect this and understand everything that's going on and understand all the moving parts, okay? Now, they can all be doing that, and they can all be in agreement. Critical thinking has nothing to do with disagreeing. You can have a group of people who are critically thinking about something, who all agree, or who all disagree. Critical thinking has nothing to do with disagreement or agreement. That isn't like having good critical thinking or being more critical thinking doesn't necessarily implicate disagreement. So once again, he doesn't know what this word means either, I guess. But yeah.
Again, I want to get back to the Europe versus Africa thing, because you said that the reason Africa didn't have a competent military or innovation.
This is what I think. Hold on, let me just double check. Critical thinking definition. I'm fairly certain what I said is correct. The objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. Yeah, so nothing about agreement or disagreement. So I was correct, and Doyle was wrong.
I want to get back to the Europe versus Africa thing, because you said that the reason Africa didn't have a competent military or innovation, so to speak, was because of European
I didn't say
oppression.
Africa. No, that's not what I said. I was just making a broad point about the European thing. But hold on, what you just said as far as hold on, wait, I just want to respond to what you said really quickly, because you didn't answer my question either. But first of all, when you have people, you just admitted it, that when you have people, you have a lot of different ideas, you have a finite pool of information to pull from, and that is a benefit of diversity. Second of all, the study that I just referenced to you was not actually the murder mystery one. I was bringing up a study which looked at different banks, and they found that innovation-focused banks increased, or innovation increased in racial diversity, that was clearly related to an enhanced financial performance. So when you say they're not looking at the outcome, they are looking at the outcomes. The outcomes are specifically benefiting.
That's another way to get at the issue with Doyle's claim that, oh, they're just disagreeing. Doesn't actually mean that they're having better outcomes, right? So I went with the more mechanistic explanation for why Doyle's thing doesn't make sense, and why it doesn't have anything to do with what we were talking about. And Hunter went for the more data-driven, like, oh no, they literally were measuring outcomes. Both are good. I didn't have access to the outcome-oriented one because I didn't know the complexities exactly of these studies or the intricacies of them, as Hunter and I would say Doyle would be familiar with, but Doyle is clearly not familiar with them. I don't even know what he's done with them, but yeah.
By having more diversity. And this isn't just in private firms where this has been discovered. Even the military itself has found that when women are involved in complex problem solving, they solve problems at faster rates than groups that are just made up of men, for example. Ooh. So what's wrong with this? Why don't we want our military to be strong and efficient?
Oh, what was you say?
I would be curious to see the sample size from that one pertaining to women, because men are more rational than women.
Do you think it's going to be difficult to get a sample size of women? Like, this is not studying trans people, right? Sample size for discussions on trans people, that's always a thing you always want to make sure that you textbook look up. You should always keep an eye on sample size, but specifically for trans things as well. That's very important because it's difficult to get a good size of trans people because there aren't a lot of trans people, right? However, if you're just trying to study women, like, it's not going to be very difficult to get a... Now, I might be wrong. Maybe for whatever reason, this study has a really small sample size. It would surprise me, though, if it did, because, once again, it's not very difficult to get a hold of women, okay, to do studies with
women, and so I would imagine it's not a lie.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely not a lie.
No, it's a lie.
And there's even studies supporting that too.
No, there isn't. There's studies reporting the complete opposite. But I know that you kind of have to just make up stuff. But okay, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, anyways, so it's like if you take a sample size of high IQ women and compare them to average IQ men, they're going to be better at solving those problems. But if I took 100 women off the street and 100 men off the street, I mean, you would be delusional to suggest that the women would be better at solving the problems than the men would. I mean, this is just a fact.
No, not at all.
And so,
it's not
in
true.
terms of the social production,
But even okay. So once again, Hunter says that's not true. I'm based on everything I've heard, I'm going to trust Hunter more so far than I'm going to trust Doyle. But I haven't looked into it myself, so I'll give that there. But even then, that argument doesn't make any sense. What Doyle just said. Even if it was true that on average, the average man was more intelligent than the average woman. Even if that was true, okay, which once again, big if there, big, hypothetical concession there. Even if that was true, that's still not an argument against diversity. Because if you're talking about highest level positions, such as, for instance, in the military, when it comes to like really complex things, important things, you're not selecting for the average. You're selecting from the very creme de la creme. You're selecting from the very top. So you will already be getting the best out of the best of what you select from there. So if you're getting a woman, you're getting still like meeting that standard of the best of the best. So it doesn't even apply there either. Because you're like, yeah. Because like one group might be overrepresented in terms of the best, that's not an argument against kicking out everybody who is not in that overrepresented group from the best of the best. Because what you're looking for, ideally, shouldn't be that overrepresented group. It should be the best of the best, which you're actually trying to get at, right? So that doesn't even work there either. His argument doesn't follow logically. It doesn't make sense.
It is true, dude. Like,
it's not true.
I don't know if you're lying. I don't know like what kind of bubble you live in to actually believe this. It reminds me of the Trump tweet. Like, is this even possible to believe?
You haven't provided any evidence. You're just saying like, obviously this is the case. I have evidence after evidence after evidence.
Observable reality, Hunter. Get on it, okay? Get ready. Keep up with the times, okay?
Shows that the Marine Corps, for example, found that including women resulted in just as good, if not better, cognitive performance with these challenging problems. I have information showing that when women are involved in high-firm companies, they perform...
Imagine ambushing somebody and not having preparation for the things you're going to argue with.
Better, the more diversity is implemented in those companies. This is a clear evidence that women are not less rational than men. You're going to have some women that are less rational than men. You're also going to have some men that are less rational than women. They have done studies where they presented men and women with complex moral problems, and at the end of the day, men and women were just as rational. This is just a lie that you're saying right now.
No, no, it's not. There's a really good book that I don't think you'll read, but if anyone's interested, it's called The Rationality Quotient, and it's, you know, how to quantify actually thinking rationally. And they found, like, I think a 0.67 or 0.68 advantage in terms of rational thinking for men. So again,
what does that mean? 0.68? Did they make their own, like, units? Like an IQ thing? Is that what he's saying? Like, men are 0.68 IQ points more intelligent? Is that what he means? Oh, fuck. Do I want to look this up? Am I gonna get stuck in a rabbit hole? We'll just keep going.
I don't even think
so. I don't know. Like Hunter cites peer-reviewed academic articles. Doyle cites random book. Like I don't know.
This is worth addressing. But again, what you're arguing, I'm frankly much less concerned about, like, all of the studies and things like that. I'm talking about, like, what we know about world history. What you are arguing is that all of the conquests of, for example, the Roman Empire.
So dumb. Oh fuck. Okay. Okay. In case someone doesn't understand. The reason why studies are really important and just broad looks at world history aren't as valuable is because one of the key things that makes studies so beneficial is that in studies, you control for things. That's it. You control for other things. You eliminate confounding variables and confounding factors that can influence the results in a biased way, or in a biased capacity, or in a way that isn't underlyingly, or that isn't demonstrative of the underlying reality that you're trying to get at. That's why studies are so good and so important, because they try to control for as much as possible, so you're really studying what you're trying to get at. If you just broadly look at world history, there are thousands of things going on at any one time in world history. Different things are skewing the findings and the outcomes and the data and all of that things. That's why you can't just look at history and draw broad conclusions about the underlying different core components of it, because there's so much going on. It is impossible to parse through that and get to what's actually going on. That's why you have to control for those things in an academic setting to know that you're actually studying what you think that you're studying. So once again, just explain the basics of intelligentsia and, like, academia and intellectualism to John Doyle here as the resident representative and speaker for Western intelligence here that he proclaims to be. But yeah.
Would have been better if you would have had more women involved or more gay people involved or things like that. And this is why I don't know why you are so like afraid of this comparison. But when you're talking about, like, you know, Africa was at a disadvantage versus Europe, well, why then was Europe able to come in and colonize Africa? If we were really at a level playing field, they have more natural resources than Europe. Why weren't they able to man the defenses? I understand that, but listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, so it's different. So once again, this is why looking back at history is difficult, because this is how Doyle is looking at it. Okay, he's just a race realist now, right? I assume. I guess so, because that's basically what he's saying right now. He's looking back and he's being like, okay, he's juggling his John Doyle brain cells. He's like, okay, Europe, we have white people. Africa, we have black people. Okay, now what country developed more? Europe, white people better. Fucking got him. Easy. White people better. Proof. Undeniable. Just look at history. Fucking got him. Right? That's the way he looks at these things. That doesn't make sense. Because, believe it or not, the only relevant factors to this aren't just white people here, black people there. Okay? First of all, that's not entirely true. There's a lot more overlap than what you might think. But regardless, those aren't the only factors that exist. There exist a wide range of other factors. Beyond just, like, natural resources, as Doyle says. So, for example, like climate, conditions, you know, what's it called? Receptive and beneficial for farming, and, you know, agriculture and domestic, agriculture and creating food and stuff like that. Animals, the livestock, and the local flora and fauna are going to be very significant. I already mentioned weather patterns, temperatures, rainfall, all of these things, and then chance as well in, like, large historical events. All of these things are going to play different parts in determining, like, what the outcomes are. So just being like, white people there did good, black people there did bad, you're missing so much more of what's going on. You're missing geographical factors. You're missing things that just happen by virtue of chance. Just random shit that happens. One innovates slightly faster than the other one, and then, you know, they come in and fuck over the person that was a little bit slower. But the reason that they innovated slightly slower, just whatever, like a chance random reason, right? There's so many different variables that you need to take into consideration, and that's why these broad perspectives of history don't work, because there's so much going on.
I'm saying that innovation is more likely to come from European men, as evidenced by literally 95% of all of it. You're saying no. I'm saying, okay, well, if that's not the case, why was Africa not able to defend itself from European colonization?
These are completely unrelated. The European colonization had everything to do with advanced levels of technology, even different climates.
Where did that come from?
Hold on. Even different climates had an effect there. This idea of, well, Africa couldn't defend itself, therefore minorities are not good for innovation is...
Good book on this. Guns, Germs, and Steel. Base books. There are some things on this. I've heard that, and I've asked a few people about this as well. There have been some critiques made of it, a little bit, but I think for the most part, I'm very, very certain that it is that people generally think it's a good book, and that it generally holds up to academic standards. But
is irrelevant. This is one.
Nobody to Ottomans, like the golden age of Islam. Like there's so much you can go off here if you really wanted to. Like it's so much more complex. But John Doyle just sees white people good, black people bad, and then that's all. That's it. It's a wrap. Finished, over and out. Like I don't know.
One of the weakest arguments I've ever heard. We need to combine and look at how diversity interacts with the military and in actual companies, because that's how the military is. You keep saying, well, what about the fighting field?
I agree with that. The military is a company. Get that.
Well, no. It's not just the company, but it's a group where there is a large amount of people that are all working towards a common goal. And if you want to talk about, if you actually want to talk about world history, I mean, you can look at historical examples. Since the 1800s, for example, armies with high rates of inequality have done poorly, according to all kinds of measures. One statistical analysis focused on armies with high rates of inequality, and that they found that increased the odds by 50% that an army will suffer more casualties than it inflicts on the other side. So that's some world history for you right there. When you are discriminatory, or when you don't properly include minorities into your group, you lack positive outcomes. You weaken the military. You weaken the morale. And again, I don't know why you keep going back to this Africa thing. At the end of the day, we have multiple different studies that have shown that when women and black people and minorities are included in these firms, they do better. You're just denying this. You're just denying it right now.
Okay, I have another question. Help me understand. If we know that if you have a group of like, say 50 bland vanilla white men and you throw in the black people and women, you're saying that that'll help that company do better, that military operation do better, then why then in the places in the world where we see the most black people or the most any sort of minority group, why then are they not doing as well as where we see the most groups of like...
Okay, he's actually dumb. He doesn't understand what Hunter's arguing either. Hunter's not saying that black people or women are superior to men. That's not his argument. That's not Hunter's argument. Hunter's argument is that having a diverse mix of all sorts is beneficial. I don't understand what he's talking about. So let's be totally honest. I'm not on Doyle's side, but I can almost guarantee the color of your skin in military means... Okay, it's not the color of the skin that's important. It's the fact that different people have different experiences. And what your skin color is might affect your experiences and therefore the way you view the world and therefore the way you go about problem solving. If you have a more mix and a more range of diverse people who all have different worldviews, different ways of solving problems, and you put them all together and you ask them to solve a problem, because of the more different avenues that they have of getting at the problem, they're going to be able to be more innovative and solve that problem in a better way. If you have a group of people that all think the same and have all had similar experiences and therefore similar worldviews, there's going to be a limited amount of ways in which these people will approach the problem, and therefore they will be less effective overall at solving the thing. Hunter isn't saying that black people or women are better at solving the problem. What he's just saying simply is that having a mix of all different types of people is the best for solving the problem. That's all. But Doyle seems to think that what Hunter's saying is that black people are like superior or women are like superior in solving problems.
White male dominated spheres.
Sure,
if that's the
I can
case.
answer that. Yeah, the answer to that is not that, oh, just because they're black, they somehow have a better idea, lol. What you're doing is stripping this of all nuance, and you're looking at this in one of the most delusionally reductionist ways imaginable. What it is not only diversity, it's how you properly implement that diversity. Obviously, just having a large group of black people is not going to necessarily lead to any better or worse outcome than having a large group of uneducated white people or something. That's not the key here. The key is that when you have a business or a company or something like the military, and they all have a common goal, implementing diversity in the proper way, mind you, leads to more innovation because you're pulling from a larger pool of information. There is more experience behind that. And then, like I've already demonstrated, that leads to higher rates of innovation. This benefits the military immensely. Like, I want to see the military get stronger. I want our country to be kept safe. And that's what the military does. And so it only makes sense to have a larger pool to gauge information from. That was your argument at the beginning of this.
Ooh. Right. So, again, it's like even in recent history, our military...
You always know, okay, this is just... Okay, this doesn't prove anything. This is just something that I've noticed. Whenever you give somebody an argument, and they begin it with again, they're going to sidestep everything you've just said and pretend like something that they said earlier disproves what you just said. Just Fuentes does this, Doyle does this. It's just keep in mind, okay, when there's a little red flag that goes off in my mind whenever somebody opens their response with again. It means that they're going to sidestep everything and pretend like something they said before address what you just said.
Hasn't been able to do really anything quite effectively. I mean, we got embarrassed in Afghanistan. We were embarrassed in all of our campaigns in the Middle East. And now it's like
what? This doesn't prove that diversity isn't good. Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess he's just broad-pilled. Like he doesn't understand the merit to looking at things in specifics in controlled settings. He just likes looking at that broad things. The reason why he likes looking at broad things is that from broad things you can draw any conclusion you want. And because Doyle is an ideologue, he doesn't care about what the truth is. He cares about looking at the broad settings and drawing the conclusions that he wants from the broad settings. Because if you're in a specialized setting, if you're in a controlled setting, you can't draw any findings you want. Because you get closer to the reality of the situation. Broadly, a lot of stuff is going on. You can draw any conclusions you want. That's why Doyle wants to keep to the broad things, and Hunter wants to go to the specifics.
I really kind of want you to just think about like what you're saying.
Yeah, and also, true, Shadimar, okay? There was a race-based military a few decades ago. True. It's like that for, hold on, where's that? Hold on, where's that? Hold on, I need to see if I can find this. This is green text. Green text. The army. Well, let me see if I can find this. There we go. This is... There we go. Hyper-military-based society. Tries to convince itself it's the strongest area military on Earth. Fights one war. Loses. Based! Jesus, this is it. This is Hunter. This is Doyle's. This is his argument. This is what he doesn't realize. Clear, it's in the history books. Doyle, come on, you should know better.
Which is that, you know, if we are to increase, like, what experience do you think, if you just had to guess, maybe there's not a study, if you just had to guess, what experience do you think the average black guy has in terms of dealing with high-level military operations, small unit tactics, that the average white guy just, like, doesn't have? Like, what is that experience?
It's not that. It's just the different, like, different experiences inform different ways of thinking, inform different ways of approaching the problem. It's not that, like, black people are imbued with one strategic, like, military strategic mind, and white people with another military strategic mind, and then when they come together, they use the best of both. It's just like problem-solving skills differ between people, and your skills are going to depend on your experiences. Therefore, they're going to be different. That's all. And these skills are going to be applicable in whatever you're talking about. If it's military things, it's one thing. If it's companies, it's one thing. If it's customs, it's one thing. It's just, yeah.
That you think he could really bring to the table there?
I don't think that anybody, white, black, gay, straight, women, whatever, have like some intrinsic understanding of the military. They would be trained.
Well, then why would you need them for military diversity?
Because you would
make it better. That's the essence of your argument.
No, I think that you're literally thinking that my argument is like just take a random woman off the street and plop her in the military. Therefore, military gets better. That is not what I'm saying.
According to your argument, that would increase innovation.
No, my argument is that
slightly. Yes.
My argument is that when you train, obviously, to get somebody in the military, they're going to have to train to be in the military. Obviously, I'm not talking about just
86% of women fail.
I'm not talking about just grabbing random people and then saying, "Oh, look, they're black. They must have better ideas."
I wonder how many men fail. That would be interesting to know. But yeah, of course, there's also reasons for why one group might fail more than the other one. That don't just go from the simplistic John Doyle understanding of why that might be.
That, again, I've said this now 5 times, when you take a large group of people of different identities and they're all focused on a common goal, after all going through the same training, mind you, to get to where they are in the military, or going through the same process to be hired in a hypothetical firm, then you will see higher rates of innovation. I'm not saying that some black person just has an intrinsic understanding of the military, but guess what? Neither do any white guys, okay? They all go through a proper training, and then once they do, when they're all put in a group where they have to have a common outcome or a common goal, we see the diversity and the different experiences and different backgrounds lead to less groupthink and more innovation. And also, one more thing I really want to
imagine ambushing somebody and getting whooped this hard. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Address. You said like, oh, we haven't really seen our military do anything recently, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you might be right. I don't know. You might be wrong. But at the end of the day, if you want to look at all of the different innovation that was contributed to our military during, say, World War II, for example.
Okay. Again, it would be wonderful if Rose or Hunter could explain what it is about skin color that results in different ways of thinking that are important to the military, important to running a business. Okay, I'm going to give it, again, very simply for your debate board, okay? Who you are, what you look like, is going to affect how society treats you. Society will treat you differently, depending on if you're white or if you're black. These different treatments, the different experiences that you endure on account of these treatments, are going to affect your worldview and your way of thinking and your way of solving problems in different ways. Therefore, if you have a broader base of people who have had more diverse experiences, some of them on account of, for example, their skin color and the way society treats them on the basis of that, then you're going to fundamentally have more people with different ways of thinking and also with different ways of analyzing and solving problems. And the more different ways you have at approaching a problem or approaching an issue, the higher the chance that one of them is going to be correct or the most efficient for this specific task. There you go. That's the explanation. You're welcome.
There was a multitude of benefits
We should call failed Sam Cedar moments John Doyle's true.
Were brought to our military from minority groups, whether they were black, women, or gay. So I don't think that you can necessarily just say that they must not have an understanding or they must have the understanding. It's obviously a common goal.
I mean, you say multitudes. There's so many examples. Give me one from World War II.
Sure. So Alan Turing, he was a crypto analyst for the British government during World War II. He was also a gay man. His code-breaking skills played a pivotal role in intercepting...
No! Doyle asked for an anecdote, which once again, Hunter doesn't have to give because anecdotes are dog shit. But Hunter knew! Hunter was ready! Hunter even beat him in his shitty anecdote game. You can look at his face. Look at Doyle's face. Look at his face when it happens. Look at him. Look at him.
So many examples. Give me one from World War II.
Sure. So Alan Turing, he was a crypto analyst for the British government during World War II. He was also a gay man.
Show my beard.
His code-breaking skills played a pivotal role in intercepting coded German messages.
Oh, fuck.
I can give you another one. The multiplex telegram was used in World War II. Was invented by a black man named Granville T. Woods. He also invented the first prototype of the gas mask. If you want another one, Heidi Lamar, she's a
woman.
She invented the frequency hopping communication system, which now gives us Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth.
Yo, Hunter's just crushing him. Oh my god. Can I watch this on YouTube? Is this allowed? Is this TOS?
These are all things that have benefited the military, that were brought to the military from diversity. So you need to tell me, why are you in favor of weakening the military just because you don't want there to be diversity? Can you explain that one to me, please?
I'm not even anti-diversity. I just fail to see the logic behind thinking that the less cohesive you make a group, the more likely it is to be able to successfully fulfill a task which would require it to be cohesive.
I completely agree with you.
Like,
but what you're advocating for is a lesser cohesive.
Okay, hold on. The non-biased mod is stepping in, guys. Prepare. You ready for that non-biased intervention?
Fill a task which would require it to be cohesive.
I completely agree with you. But what you're advocating for is a lesser cohesion.
So we've only got a few minutes left, so I want to, John, you can respond to that and then wrap up.
Oh, it's getting wrapped up now. Oh, that's a rough one. After Hunter just slaps Doyle in his own game, now that Mon's gonna be, by the way, it's time to go. We're running out of time, guys. Yo, we gotta cut it here. It's over. You know, we gotta cut it short. Like, damn, holy shit, no fucking way. Now, okay, to be fair, it's entirely possible that they were actually running out of time. However, it is extremely convenient. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. The Debra-Soh technique. Okay, it is very convenient.
Your own points here, and then we'll go to Hunter. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very busy studio. I'd love to have you both back, of course, if we can get an agreement for that.
Yeah, I don't want to end this already, man. We were just getting into a good convo.
Unfortunately, we do have another show coming up here. So, John, why don't we go to you first? We can give you up to 5 minutes, and then Hunter, we can give you up to 5 minutes as well. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I guess I would just say that, you know, there's a reason when you're, as you would know, Andrew, there's a reason that when you get into the military, they haze you and they shave your head and they basically tell you that you're disposable. I mean, the whole idea psychologically, and again, only 10% are in combat, the whole idea psychologically is to remove any sort of identity you have and tell you that, like, you are a unit and you're going to maybe die, and like, that's fine. And so this idea
for some people in the military, that's fine, but for others, that isn't beneficial, that isn't useful. Like, there's so much more to the military than just that. And even then, even doing that isn't going to reduce all, like, get rid of all your life experiences and all your previous, like, worldviews and way of analyzing problem. Like, it's just, Doyle's just saying nothing right now, basically. He's saying nothing.
That, like, oh, well, this guy happened to like anal sex, and that's why he was able to create this piece of technology, and that made it better. It's like, you know, don't ask, don't tell. I'm not saying you need to kick people out of the military. I'm just saying that this effort to purposefully have diversity, which is what we have, is a waste of military resources. And diversity in general, I mean, I have yet to see any real evidence. I mean, I'm not familiar with the evidence that Hunter's presented. I'd like him to email it to me. But, you know, the most comprehensive study I think we have on diversity in terms of, like, ethnicity is, of course, the Putnam study from 2011. Famous social...
Oh, does he know? Does Hunter know? Here's the real vibe check. So once again, even the Putnam study, okay, has an extraordinarily small effect size. Very, very small effect size. And Number one, that's a thing. Very, very small effect size. Hunter knows this. He can say this. Number two, that doesn't actually defeat any of Hunter's arguments. And number three, there are simple ways to get over that very, very simple loss in social cohesion. Very, very small loss in social cohesion that comes from diversity. That have been shown and tried and true that work. And one of those ways, by the way, is diverse working environments. So Hunter's solution is actually a perfect solution to the issue that Doyle is pointing out right now with the study. But we'll see. We'll see how much, if Hunter knows this.
Social scientist from Harvard, and he found that as you increase ethnic diversity in a community, everything goes down. Political involvement, trust, everything goes down. The only thing that goes up when you increase diversity is
everything. Oh, he's so obscure with his word. The effect sizes on the side are extremely small. Very, very, very small effects. Like 0.5% or something, maybe even less. Extraordinarily small.
The amount of people protesting and the amount of people watching TV. That's it. So I fail to see and I fail to conceptualize how, you know, the great militaries throughout the world would have been better if.
And also note how he uses studies like Pokemon cards when it benefits him, right?
They simply had more people from different groups or more women or more gay people. That doesn't compute. And, you know, on paper, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. But when we square that with what we know about how humans behave and interact with each other, I think it really doesn't make sense. And I think that's actually why he relies so heavily on papers and studies and things like that, because he doesn't seem to want to argue just from like his own logic. He wants to, again, play the Pokemon card. I've got my EX card. It's peer reviewed. And it's like, my brother in Christ, you just can't really argue from within, from what you know. So
imagine someone like Doyle talking about logic, dude. I fucking hell.
Charizard cards going for hundreds of thousands of dollars these days. I'd like to implore you guys to watch some Pawn Stars, maybe. Hunter, you got the floor for up to 5 minutes. Say whatever you want. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just respond to all the really retarded things that John Doyle just said. So first and foremost, he complained last time in his video about a bunch of sexual assaults happening in the military, and he attributed that to gay people, when in fact the sexual assault rise in the military is actually a result of hazing. So oftentimes we see sexual assaults at skyrocketing rates because straight men will literally go and sexually abuse other men simply for the sake of hazing. This is a huge problem. You can read about it on army.com if you don't believe it. So very good argument, John. Not sure why you're in favor of more sexual assault. Second of all, Putman study. Very funny that you referenced that one. The Putman study was actually, the reason that they found that result was not because of diversity. It was rather because there were racist dipshits like you, John, who were angry that black people were there. So because there were racists, that negatively affected the cohesion, not having black people. In fact, there are way better studies which have shown that when you put white and black people together in the same community,
that's the second
white
aspect.
People tend to become less racist because they no longer perceive a threat by people that look different from them. Okay. Second of all, when it comes to the military, minorities fair.
Okay, the effect size would have been an extra thing there, but what's it called? Hunter handled it in a completely good way.
Just as well in the military, when the military emphasizes the end goal of the mission rather than getting hung up on unique individual traits. You talk about cohesion, I agree with you. A unit that is not cohesive will not function properly. But you are wrongly attributing this idea that having diversity is somehow going to harm cohesion. That's not true. Cohesion actually benefits when you accept more people because, again, you lower the perceived threat, and in turn, you then get a benefit, which is more innovation. So there have already been studies, for example, that have shown that when people are hung up on gender identity or sexual orientation, they actually destabilize their military rather than protecting their own capabilities. That harms the military at the end of the day. So again, not sure, John, why you're in favor of a weaker military. And lastly, you say, I'm just relying on studies, using them as Pokemon cards, yada, 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 this thing and the other thing, instead of feeling what's within. I'm sorry, I don't know why you seem to be operating on a very womanly kind of basis here.
Oh,
put facts over feelings.
Okay, Hunter. Okay. Alright. The ironic misogyny. Okay, here we go. Jesus.
Okay, and right now for someone like you who unironically said that women are less rational, I'm not sure why you are now relying on your own fifis to come to a conclusion when that's not how the world works. If we went ahead and went by your logic, we would all be here believing the world is flat. Now, I don't know what you believe. Maybe you do believe that, but for most rational people, we recognize that the world is actually round, even though we've never seen the round Earth. We don't gauge within our own logic and our own little feelings. We look at studies. And
the reason why this, I don't know if I probably would have gone. I wouldn't have gone for the ironic misogyny, but for somebody who, because, what's his name? Doyle is like a very like, oh, women are feeble-minded, men are strong intellectuals, So in that context, it's fair. Like he's handling this in a womanly way, according to Doyle's worldview, right? So I think it's fine.
And data. And when you look at a multitude of studies, I'm not just pulling one fucking study out of my ass here. We have a plethora.
Especially given Hunter before, how he was like you're wrong about women being feeble-minded. Like, he argued against it there when it was actually a substantive thing, and then he used it for like a quick little zinger at the end then, when like he had already established like his opinions on the thing. So I think that this is probably like as good as like an invocation of ironic misogyny could be. Because he did like the heavy lifting at the beginning to make his stance clear, and then now at the end he's using it just like a pretty good shot by him.
Of different data points, all showing that diversity integrated into companies betters the company, diversity integrated in the military betters the military. The reason our military is the strongest and most successful military in the entire world is largely attributable to diversity.
Damn.
All right, thank you, thank you both, boys, for coming on.
Andrew,
hold on.
Give me
yes, I will give you that 30 seconds in a moment. Thank you guys for coming on.
Wait, they're gonna give it. Wait, you're gonna give Doyle a closing statement? They're gonna give him a second.
You want to come back on in June? We can get you back on for a more structured debate with more particular questions for you both.
Yeah, Doyle's like, oh, I need another one after this. This one didn't go very well. Oh, I need a new one.
Respond to Hunter Avallone's YouTube channel and Instagram and Twitter. You can find him on his own name, I believe, Avallone, and on his Discord, John Doyle, of course, Hack Off Comedy on YouTube. He's also often on Blaze TV, Slightly Offensive, and all those wonderful shows. John Doyle, you were called a racist, so you want to get 30 seconds for that?
Do I get 30 seconds to respond from there?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm actually the least racist person.
Well, it's fine if they both get it, I guess. Now, notice that the moderator was unsure whether he was going to give Hunter another 30 seconds, because once again, he's unbiased. It had to be Doyle that said, yeah, sure. You can
seconds for that.
Do I get 30 seconds to respond from there?
Sure.
Okay.
He's like, do I? And then Doyle said,
the least racist person. But in our follow-up debate,
the least racist person. By the way, this is just all innovations seems to come from white European men. I mean, I'm not saying anything else. I mean, it's just that like it's kind of strange that they all happens from white European men. Huh? Maybe there's something about them being white European men. But I'm not racist. I'm one of the least racist people actually. But these white European men really seem to be the Ubermensch or something. I mean, I wouldn't use that exact word, but I mean, you get like, come on, dude.
Time I would be curious, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to send me all the information which he was citing, and I can assure you that in the first part of our debate, if I'm allowed to speak uninterrupted, I will refute
no, now he's salty.
every single study he cites, because it's wrong. And I don't know the studies because I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff, but I know they're wrong. And you can laugh.
This is it. He's so dumb. He's literally exposing his motivated reasoning. He's saying that, like, I literally don't know what you're talking about, but I have already decided going into this that you are wrong. So I'm going to find reasons for you being wrong. He's admitting to being a pseudo-intellectual, to being a fraud. Like, he's self-reporting. Like, I don't even know what to tell you.
Don't believe me, but just at least remember that I said it, because that's what will happen. I'll prove to you that they're all incorrect. In terms of the Putnam study rebuttal, he pronounced the name wrong of the author, but claims to know like the ins and outs of it. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, of course, because how to pronounce the author's name is way more significant than what the study actually says when it comes to being able to accurately represent it. Good one, Doyle. Nice zinger.
Actually, racist white people, because they didn't trust each other either. If you read the study, you would know that trust as a general, as an aggregate, went down. So if what you're saying was the case, measuring trust as just like that, it'd be like black people.
Okay.
But white people didn't trust each other anyway.
Is the moderator gonna cut him off?
Also, in terms of
John,
diversity,
I gotta cut you off.
Okay, there we go.
They're lowering the bar to allow these
Not
people
really,
into the military. That's
he's gonna pretend to cut him off.
Problem.
Hunter, 30 seconds, really tight.
So first and foremost, again, we're seeing John relying heavily on his fifis. I don't know if maybe he's still a snowflake and need a safe space here, but again,
you gotta leave
I don't. No.
Whoa, Doyle.
I'm staying in 2016 because they seem to be bothering you, and I think that's very funny. So again, I rely on the data. John relies on his feelings, as demonstrated by him saying he's never read the studies, but I'm sure they're all just wrong. LOL. Second of all, I don't care if I pronounced the author's name incorrectly. The reason the trust was lower was because there was a higher rate of racism. Racists are scared of black people, and if they act racist, that lowers the trust that black people have in the general community as well. This is why we have seen that accepting all identities benefits cohesion when it's implemented properly.
So once again, he just doesn't read the study correctly. God, he actually...
Back to me. Thank you both. Hunter, you going to come back for a debate with John Doyle?
Yeah, maybe. But I never got an opening statement either, so, you know, it's a little sad.
You'll get a big opening statement next time.
He's agreeing to do it again. Okay, well, that's...
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you both for coming on. I appreciate you both. It's hard to get people to come together and talk like this. Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah. See you.
Oh my god, you fucking...
Well, that went well. And now I have a bunch of fucking copers in my, in my chat.
I'm going to finish this, and I'll give my final
All right, John Doyle Simps, I see you all, okay? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell. So
I'll let it play after that.
Video.
Unless this audio demonetizes me. Hold on. Is there anything else here? Okay, no. Damn. Honestly, I was not expecting I was not expecting him to do this well. I am very... This is going to sound condescending or something. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised. He eviscerated Doyle. Like, it's just... It wasn't even close. It wasn't even like... I don't even know what to say. Like... Like, Doyle kept, like, walking into rake after rake after rake after rake. Imagine... Yeah, and Doyle ambushed Hunter as well. Wow. Okay, that's really impressive. Imagine losing an ambush this bad. Holy shit. It's not even... It wasn't even... This is probably the most... Is this the most one-sided debate I've ever reviewed on my channel? It might be. Hold on. Let me check this. Hold on. Rose wrist reviews. I think so. Hans Demon Mama. That's the only one that gets close. Like Hans Demon Mama and this one. Those are the only ones that are even remotely similar to this. But damn. Good job, Hunter. You crushed it.